Hello, boys and girls. Today we will be looking into balance. In today's lesson, the vocabulary words we will be looking at are balance and symmetry. In balance, as you can see in these images, similar when we are little, we have to learn how to balance our bodies when learning to walk, ride a bicycle, or while playing on a seesaw, just like what you see here. Today, we are going to investigate visual balance, balance we can see with our eyes. Balance is one of the 7 principles of art. Principles deal with how the elements of art, like line, shape, color, are arranged in a work of art. Now, there are 3 types of balance: symmetrical, asymmetrical, and radial, but today we are going to be looking only at symmetrical. Now, symmetrical has to deal with symmetry. Symmetry is the way something has 2 sides or halves, like this pizza, that are the same or are very close in size, shape, and position. Now, when I say position, I mean, is it up and down? Is it side to side? Or is it diagonal, corner to corner? Okay. Here, this is a vertical. There's a midline in the middle, and they're the same on the left and the right. Same thing here. The shapes are arranged in a way that the left is the same as the right. Now, here's an example in nature, a butterfly. If I were to draw a midline or central axis, as you see here, the left wing is very similar to the right wing. Now, here are some examples of 2 types of axis. Vertical, which is the position I told you. The line is vertical, it goes up and down, and the sides are the same from the left to the right. This is a fleur-de-lis. This was a symbol that represented a lily, and it was used a lot in the country of France. The kings and queens would use it a lot. Now, here's an example from a painting made by Georgia O'Keeffe, a very famous artist, and it's of a cow skull. The left is the same as the right. Now, here's an example with our alphabet, the letter A. If I were to put that midline, the left is the same as the right. Now, let's jump over to horizontal axis. Horizontal means the line goes from left to right, and the top and the bottom would be the same. Okay, here's a pair of scissors. If you draw that midline, the top side is the same as the bottom. Here's an example of photography. Someone used a picture and then they changed it with a computer to make it look the same. Now, this is a reflection. Like you have a reflection in a mirror. The land is reflected into the water, and so is the sky is reflected into the water. Okay, so this is horizontal axis. And you also see it with the letter B. The letter B has this horizontal axis, and if I were to fold it or cut it in half, these 2 sides would match up perfectly. Now, here are some examples of symmetry in art. I see it in photography where they used a digital program to make it look the same on both sides. Here's an example in watercolor. Here's an example in painting of 2 Native Americans. Here's another painting. Now, remember we said similar or close to. It doesn't have to be exactly, but it's very close. Here is the midline. This figure is the central focus or emphasis. And then you see these 2 other figures on either side. One has a baby in the back, one doesn't, but it still has that balance. Now, here's an example in ceramics. The actual vase is symmetrical, so it's the same on both sides. And not only that, but the design on the vase is also symmetrical. It's a flower, right? And it's the same on the left as it is on the right. Now, here's an example of horizontal axis where the top is the same as the bottom. And here's an example from architecture, a building. This is in India, the Taj Mahal. The left is the same as the right. Even the trees that they planted shows symmetry. Now let's look at our textbook. Here it's talking about art and nature, and it's showing us a famous artist named Henry Rousseau. Okay. The title of this image is called The Equatorial Jungle. It's painted in 1909, and it is an oil painting. Here it says, what parts of nature did the artist show in the picture? Yes, very good. Just like the title, it says it's a jungle. You see a jungle, you see plants, you see animals. They're hiding in their habitat, in their setting. Now let's go to the other page. Here it says many people like plants and animals. Some artists look at nature for art ideas. I know I do. I love to draw art from nature. Sometimes they look very closely, and sometimes they look very far away, so the objects look very small. What do you see in picture A and picture B? Yes, very good. You see animals in their habitat, you see nature, you see plants. Very good. Now, what's happening in this picture? It looks like we have a family of bears, something in the background here. There's a bird on a limb. See the sky in the background? Now let's meet the artist. This is a picture of Henry Rousseau. As you can see, it's black and white. We can make black and white pictures now, but this was a picture taken very long time ago, 1906, maybe even earlier. That's over 100 years ago. Okay, Henry Rousseau studied plants and animals. He painted pictures to share what he saw. Now we're gonna draw what we see. It says here, insects up close. Artists make pictures of insects. Insects display symmetrical balance. So the balance, it feels even, and there's symmetry, so it'll be same on both sides. Look at picture A, B, and C. Where do you see symmetry, boys and girls? Very good. The parts on the left are the same as the parts on the right. Awesome. Okay, brain break. You've been sitting, you've been listening, you've been very well behaved. I'm going to give you 3 minutes or so to be able to get all that energy out before we start our studio time. Okay, it's studio time, boys and girls. We are going to draw symmetrical insects. Okay, the materials we're going to use are some plastic insects. They're realistic. Realistic means that they appear to be real, but they are not. They're made of plastic. The good thing about these, there's no creepy crawly. They're not going to move. They're not going to jump. They're not going to fly. They're just made out of plastic, but they look really cool, and we can study them and draw them based on what we see. We are going to use paper. We're going to draw with pencils. We're going to draw lightly until we get it right. And then we're going to use markers to color it. Now, I see this image here. I see this image, it has balance. If I were to draw a midline or central axis, it would be the same on the left and on the right. The color's a little different, but the shapes and the lines are the same. Now, what if I look at this awesome picture? I love this picture. But you tell me, students, does this have symmetry? If I were to draw a line, a vertical axis, is it the same on the left and the right? If I were to draw a horizontal axis, is it the same on the top and the bottom? We need to be thinking about this when we start our project. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start the timer, and I'm going to walk around, and I'm going to help everyone get started. We're going to fold our paper in half, and that will be a good guiding line to get us with that central axis so that we can have the same on the left, on the right, or maybe you're going to do on the top and the bottom. Okay, everybody, exit ticket. Time to stop. Our 25 minutes are up, and I'm going to do a little question here to see if we remember what balance is. Symmetry. Okay, so I'm going to explain the rules. First, I'm going to ask you this question, but you're not going to answer yet because I'm going to count to 3 so everybody can give their answer at the same time. Okay, now the question is, does this image on the left have balance? Okay, don't do it yet, but let me just explain. If you think, yes, this image has balance, you're going to raise both arms in the air and you're going to wiggle them, wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. If you think, no, this picture does not have balance, you're going to make an X with your arms right in front of your body. Okay, ready? Does this image have balance? 1, 2, 3, go. Very good, boys and girls. No, it does not have balance. Be a leader, make our room cleaner. Please help Mrs. Llanos by cleaning up your area, throwing away trash, and putting the supplies where they belong. See you soon.